Future-Proof is sponsored by Concordia Dental Healthcare, expert care you can trust.
Hello and welcome back to the programme. Thank you for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, for this second half as I continue this conversation with Tim Sorensen. And I'm not going to say much more. We are talking about education, we're talking about his role. He predominantly worked in Eastbourne. And in this second half, we're just going to find out a little bit more about what Tim does. But before we do, Tim, can you remember when we first met? Can you remember?
Well, it's a long time actually, Sarah, which is how the clock ticks, isn't it? It's got to be at least 20 years, I think. Paul, your husband, and I were both involved in the Chartered Management Institute, and we ran a very successful branch actually here in Sussex. So we are going back a good 20 plus years, and obviously met you at some point there, I think, and we've had a few contacts since.
It was about that time that I launched Equipping Young Adults for Life, which was my interest in the educational side and all the rest of it. Okay, so Programme Manager for the Educational Business, for the education business in Eastbourne. You run the Big Future Show, which is now heading towards its 5th year. Could you talk about what it is that you do in Eastbourne and what you're looking for?
Yes, of course. Well, if I just take us back from the Big Future Show, the Education Business Partnership was originally one of a network nationally of about 150, 160, funded by the government. Over the years, that funding has diminished, and in fact there is only one EBP, Education Business Partnership, in the whole of Sussex now, which I'm proud to say is Eastbourne. We continue to deliver a range of projects and events for young people from the age of 5 right the way up through to higher and further and higher education. Generally around the theme of employability and skills, aspects of resilience through challenges and events that we run. A very recent example was a junior enterprise event for year 9 pupils, so we're talking 8, 9, 10-year-olds here, who had to undertake a real challenge set around Eastbourne, where they had to then produce materials and evidence and then present that to a panel. And as they say, points means prizes at the end of the day. A lot of work too for the teachers that were with them, but very rewarding and actually fascinating to see young people working together in an unfamiliar environment and working collectively together.
What's great is listening to Tim, you can really hear his passion for education, for the students and for the purpose basically of what he's doing. But like all of us in business, there are things that get in the way, contentious issues, blockages, walls, whatever they are. What are your problems and how can we help?
The problem, I think, this is a national issue for education business partnerships, is that we're obviously, like a lot of charities, and we're a charity, it all comes down to funding, I'm afraid. And whereas we used to benefit from quite substantial funding nationally, in fact I used to head up the whole of the East Sussex structure at one point, that's all now gone. So Eastbourne is a registered charity, and the only way that we can effectively keep projects going, and we're always focusing on sustainability. We don't tend to invest in one-off projects because of the huge start-up costs. It's disproportionate really to the end result. So some of our projects have been going for about 25 years.
Okay, so you're looking for business sponsorship, we're looking for schools to get involved and also for students to come through the door.
Absolutely.
For those three, what do the business world get from being involved with you? What do the schools get and what do the students get?
Okay, well let's start with business. And it's the business which very much is the driving force for a lot of this, and certainly is behind one of our other events, the Big Future Show, which I'll talk about in a moment. Businesses want to get their message out to the next generation. It's about succession planning, and whilst there's been perhaps a lag in that over recent years, again because of the austerity and other reasons, businesses are very aware that they need to be bringing in new blood, new ideas. Many people who have the experience of businesses perhaps now approaching retirement, so therefore it's important, and the only way to do that is by engaging, and the Education Business Partnership is very much a brokerage service. And it's the same coin but the other side of it, as far as the schools are concerned, they need to be able to contextualise the learning that's going on. It's all very well having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 GCSEs, that's fantastic. It's a measure of that young person's capability and potential. But what they need then to do is to be able to match that work that they've done in the school with an understanding of what's going to be required
the needs of the business world.
Yeah.
And it's not, and you know, I know loads of people in the educational world, you know, and who are desperately sort of screaming, if you like, and shouting for their drums. We need to prepare them with life skills.
Absolutely.
And also there are some of the big businesses out there that aren't even touching A-star students
Yes.
anymore, because they're not coming with social. They're not coming
No.
with the social skills that are desperately needed.
Yes.
And that's good news, by the way. If you've been written off and told you're not bright enough because of this, that and the other, please be excited, because it means you've got skills elsewhere that are very, very often people orientated, and you are going to be winning out there.
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely huge. Okay, so that's the businesses. So schools, you said the flip side of the... And I think schools really need to, and they don't know necessarily, they're trying really, really hard, but because they're not businesses, they are teachers. And I'm a former teacher. They don't know what they don't know, and there is this void. And then the students possibly are the void that go back into school to communicate what they're finding outside, and maybe helping teach the schools what they need. What do the students get by working or coming through you?
I think what the students get from that is a realisation of what they are capable of doing, but perhaps also a realisation of the things that they need to find out about, the things that they do need to learn. The softer skills, those personal skills, the interrelationship skills. And dare I say, these aren't just important, of course, for the world of work. They're important to community as a whole. We want strong, healthy communities. We don't want issues around bullying and violence and all these other things. We want a sense of respect. And certainly the work that we do, yes, it is the education business partnership, but so much of what the young people get out of this experience is about helping to develop them as individuals, and that's really, really important. It's about getting the foundations right.
Absolutely right, and everybody can learn. As a parent, I've learned so much from, you know, delving in from a perspective of a teacher, you know, and applied it actually within our own home.
Yes.
So we have a couple of minutes. Can you then talk about the Big Future Show and all that you want to say about it? And also, I love this, the Gatsby. We may or may not get there, but
Big Future Show is now our biggest event. It's an annual event that we actually run in conjunction with Eastbourne Borough Council, and it's very much in response to the business community saying, look, we are not happy with what we're seeing from young people. It's not a criticism of schools. They're doing a great job in taking those young people through GCSEs, but it's about that awareness of the world of work. It's about understanding that jobs that are available now might not be there in 5 years' time. The fact that a significant number of young people will be working in jobs that don't even exist right now.
They say 60-odd%, don't they?
I know, which is amazing. So the Big Future Show really came about as a collaboration with the Borough Council and a number of other organisations to present a professional exhibition, interactive exhibition experience where students come along as groups from their schools to talk to employers, and we work with those employers to ensure that they're comfortable with that dialogue, because they may not be used to talking to students of the sort of ages of 14 upwards. We provide materials, so we have students coming to the event. It's a visit with a purpose. It's not a random just turning up, collecting leaflets, not knowing why, and then going back home. This is very much a visit with a purpose. We provide a comprehensive show guide, website, and support materials for lessons beforehand. You mentioned the Gatsby. Gatsby benchmarks are an underpinning element of the government's new careers strategy. These are really, really important. These are the things that Ofsted will be measuring schools on in terms of their careers work in schools. So the Big Future Show very much underpins all 8 of those in terms of the relationship and engagement with employers, and that we feel is what really does contribute to an understanding of the big future.
Yeah, I love his purpose. I love what you're doing. If somebody wants to find out more, how do they find you, Tim?
The easiest way I suggest is to go onto the website, which is the W's, and it's the Big Futures Show, so there's 2 S's in that, Big Futures Show.org.uk. There's contact details in there. We are taking bookings for exhibitors. We have several schools who have already pre-booked. dare I say there are opportunities for sponsorship too.
Good. Well, do contact him. And I also want to say we're not writing off students at all. Students,
Not at all, no.
I know amazing students who are creative, they're proactive, and you know, both my children run their own businesses and they are very, very successful businesses. So keep that creative thinking. If we're responsible for the enthusiasm or inspiring young adults, let us take that responsibility
Absolutely.
seriously. Let us be very, very careful with our words and actions, and also listen. We can learn so much. I've learned so much from my kids. In fact, if I need help, the first place I tend to go is ring them to tell them so they can guide me. And I think education can learn from that as well as business. And self-employment mentality, imagine the business is your own in everything that you say and do, and then that helps us be smarter. Tim, it's been a pleasure. Thank
Sarah,
you very, very much.
Nice to
Thank
see you
you.
again. Bye.
Very good. Thank you. Fantastic. Very good.